Kid, I've flown from one side of the galaxy to the other. I've seen a lot of strange stuff, but I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything. There's no mystical energy field that controls my destiny. Welcome back, everybody. And as I mentioned previously, I've got the little magnets. We're going to go ahead and get started on getting these added. Hopefully this goes swimmingly. And once we get done with them, I've got a little bit of painting left to do. And yeah, that'll take care of all that. And then we'll go from there and see where we're at with all that stuff. So let's go ahead and knock off maybe a couple of these. We'll do one on either side or something. I want to see what kind of magnetic pull these are going to have and try to get an idea of where I need to put this, like how high up these smaller magnets need to be. So let's go ahead and get started with that. That was nice and simple. And just so everybody is aware, this is the extra one that I got from my brother, essentially. And so I don't have to worry about doing anything to mine before I'm ready to. So there is that. I have that going for me. Not everybody would have this advantage, but I have it, so I'm going to use it. All right. And I'm just cleaning this off with some isopropyl alcohol. This is 90%. We'll do this side. I'm doing that because at the moment I'm just going to use double-sided sticky tape to hold those in place. So I've got tape between them. At the very least, they won't get stuck to each other. And I don't know if the tape's going to be able to grab it enough. So apparently not. Because it pulled off the little ones. May just be something where I'm just going to have to glue these things down and see what happens. All right, there we go. So one of the reasons why I have to do this is because this metal is non-metallic. And so I'm going to go dust off all the metal shavings and stuff, and then we'll come back and see if those ones that I glued over there are dry and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I did some experimenting off camera, and what I experimented with was trying to use a washer instead. And one, I would have to cut the crap out of this to get it to set over that hole just perfectly. I don't think it was possible. I don't think that the little magnets, these little magnets, were actually going to be able to provide enough power to hold it with those. Potentially with all six, maybe, but it wasn't really providing much there. But what I did find is if I put just two here and here, and then glue the magnet on here, the small ones, and these ones on the top, it will hold the whole thing. So I can use these other ones just to line it up. So I'm going to go ahead and take these two nubs off, and we'll get to doing that. There we go. Got those off. Let's go ahead and clean that off a little bit. Now I'm just going to use some 70% isopropyl this time, and I'm just going to use this old dirty, mostly dirty paper towel. So essentially, I'm just trying to clean up just enough, right? Doesn't have to be spectacular, but it does have to be enough. I was able to get one of the magnets off. The other one stuck on pretty good. I put a bit more glue on that side. So I'll reuse the one, but I'll have to get a new one out. So I did that just to make sure that these magnets would line up exactly with where I wanted them. Because on my test one magnet was just a little bit off, and as a result of that being off just a little bit, it didn't quite want to line up. So I want to make sure that this lines up, especially since right now I'm only going to try to do this with two, and we got to make sure that those two are going to work. So I'm going to need to let these dry for a fair amount of time before I go to the next step. So we'll see you when these are dry, and we'll do the next step. I've got a little trick I'm going to do here. So I did it here. So one of the reasons why I was going to let those dry first is because I needed to know which side is which. So what I did was I dropped it over here on this. All right. So if I drop this over here on this magnet, all right, so you can see I got that shiny side. Now if I flip this over and I take this off, and then what I did was I took it off and I put the black side that way. And then if I set this on here, the black side is going to be facing up. If I try to put the black side down, it's going to repel it, and it's always going to turn around. That is important, so that way what I can do then is take these magnets, right, and I can stick them on here. So this one is already correct. I've already got a black mark on this one, and I'll blacken it up again a little bit more. And the reason why that's important is because that means I can then put this on here, and the black side will be up. So that means I can glue that down over on the model, so I don't have to wait for this to dry before I glue it down. So I just did this one. Let's just make sure black side up, black side up. Okay. So I know this one's let's say the left side, this one's the right side. I'll put the right side over here by the glue, left side over there. We'll set this off to the side. We don't need it at the moment. The important part is going to be having this. So let's get our tape and all that kind of jazz. We'll go ahead and get this put into place where it sits. There we go. That way I can set this right up on top of there. Come here. All right, so that's going to sit like that. Now, what I can do is I can take my glue. I'm just going to glue the heck out of it over here, right? And I'll take the left side. I'm going to just set that on top of there, right? And let's just, before I put any glue down, I want to make sure that this side sticks down properly. And it does. Okay. So, actually, don't want to glue it down because I'll glue it to that magnet. So, black side up on both of them. Make sure they're actually covering the holes. They are. All right, now I will let those dry. I may actually come back and add a little bit more glue on the outside because I really want to hold these in place. So there may have to be a little bit extra glue because it's not like I have a big flat surface for these to sit on. It's, yeah. So, yeah, we'll let all that dry. We'll come back, see how it works. See you guys when it's all dry. Well, here we are. So I did a little bit of an experiment to try to see if I could come up with the right color of yellow. Let me show you the picture here. You can just barely make out the yellow. In fact, I'll circle the areas that you need to look. It's very faint. So this color here is much closer to what I think I need. But that was a result of adding white to it several times and actually not being able to mix in all the yellow. So this one, oops, that's still wet. This one is a result of putting the white down first and then a single drop of yellow. And I was up to like 5 drops of white. And then this one over here, I put the yellow down first and then the 5 drops of yellow and mixed it up just to see if there was any kind of difference between the two. I don't think that there was. So we're going to look at probably a 6-to-1 ratio of white to yellow when we go ahead and paint that. And then I think on top of that, what I'm going to do is just do a very light kind of feathering or mist of it as opposed to painting it solid is probably how I'm going to handle that. So let's go ahead and get the whole thing up here. See how that goes. So I wanted to show how well the magnets work. So again, we have the magnets there, and if we get that put in there, it's in place. It just Those magnets are working great. They're the perfect size. And so again, the reason for needing these is so we can take this off, which allows us to put this in place, right? So this one goes there, and then we can put that in place, and that all fits together. And so that really helps quite a bit. In fact, you can kind of see it where that seam is, but from down here you don't really see the seam very much. So again, one of the things I need to do is I need to paint this and get that kind of blended together and look like one solid thing. So we're going to work on that. And again, there's going to be the yellow over here, and I need to figure out exactly where that's going to be. Particularly, and I don't have the best photos for it. So I've only got essentially one that really kind of, this one here shows, the second one I have shows a lot better. And it's basically going to go right up to here. And it's only going to go basically from that edge straight down, I think. And then it's only going to go to here. So, yeah. Looks like this should have probably come over a little bit wider. So instead of kind of going up this way, should have maybe feathered out a little bit, maybe go up more straight, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Again, it's pretty much just has to have the flavor and not the, it doesn't have to be exact, right? We just need it to be as close as we can get it without being obnoxious. And that's my whole goal. Now this one, on the other hand, so this one, it's hard to tell, but from the one picture that I saw, it looks like it goes up to about close to the top here. And then it seems to be a little offset of center. So it's going to go right along through here. And then maybe it is centered. No, I think it's a little off center. So it goes here and then over to there. As best I can tell. I said, I don't really have the best images to really look through for this. For whatever reason, there was nothing that significantly captured that very well. And it's rather interesting the fact that it's such a very faint color that you can't really see it in some of these other images. So when I look at the entire top section, it does look like it's going to go almost all the way up to this top. Maybe even touch it from here up to there, and then it's going to cut basically straight over and then come back down. So we will go ahead and get to masking that. What I'm going to do here is, because there is a gray spot there, what I'm going to have to do is get this touched up first, and then I will seal that in, and then we'll mask this section off for this gray bit that goes there. And it's going to go out almost to this line, go down and then over. And I think it's essentially going to be all the way around there. So we will do that last, but let's get these other sections done. So I don't need this on there at the moment, so we can take that off. Let's get our tape, wherever that is. there we go. So I'll paint these. I'll do the yellow first, and like I said, I'm just going to more or less just kind of dust it in, and then I'll mix up something for that and get that painted. Once that gets dry, which will be pretty quick, I'll actually seal it up with some spray. Have to let that dry, and then I'll get that painted. So let's get started with that. All right, things are painted. Let's see how it came out. I feel like I'm a lot happier with this side than I am that side. The problem with this side is I was fairly happy with how it looked, and unfortunately, unless I'm right inside the paint booth, I have a hard time seeing very well because the light's just not that great. This is where I start making excuses, but I'm not really making excuses. I'm just telling you what happened. And so this section in here looked like it was still very white. So I kept spraying in this section here. And yeah, so it was hard to tell if I was actually getting coverage or not. So that one came out a little bit heavy, but it can be adjusted because there's going to be pieces that go on here. There's weathering that actually goes through there as well. And let's see how this blending worked out. So um, as you can tell, I added some of this blue masking tape, mostly because I knew I was painting that yellow, and you can't really see the yellow, so I wanted to be able to kind of test the the spray pattern and all that kind of stuff, and I needed to be able to do that. So, all right. I have to say, I really like how that came out. That really came out quite well. Let me just hold that up there, and you no longer have the white part from this section. So if we pick this up, so before, this part down here was white right through there because I had masked it off that way, and now not so much. So, yeah. So now that that's in place, what I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to spray this section and seal it. I might as well go ahead and seal this right here. I don't want to seal this because this part right here. So I am still going to try to do, I'm going to get some of the gray out and just do a mark across here when I spray this. And then I'm going to come back with the red and try to dry brush it and see how it comes out. Not really dry brush it per se, but you get what I mean. So let me go seal this up, and then we'll come back and finish this part off. So see you guys in a few. Okay, well, here we are. So got the sealant on. It's dry to the touch. Should be good enough for us to get this last section masked off. And we'll be able to finish this part up. I'm kind of excited about that. Get the right glasses on. Let's try this new tape. See how this works out. I'll leave that like that. I don't know if you can see that, but it's already curved right there on the, just by trying to roll it out. That's exciting. That vinyl tape works really good too, hitting this, because that being able to mask on the side of this, because it follows a curve and whatnot, that's kind of a game changer as well. So I'm going to be all ready to paint this. I've got my paint here. I'm going to take this over. I'll get my paint mixed up with the thinner, and we'll get this painted. And don't worry, I won't forget this. Okay, so got my little bit of gray here painted. We're just going to mix this red up real quick, and we'll get out a micro brush, and we're going to see how well we can do with dry brushing this. Yeah, I'm going to give it a go, because the worst that's going to happen is I'm just going to mask it off and paint it with red anyway. So let's go ahead and try that. Let me go get that top section. All right, here we are. Let's see how this goes. All right, not exactly sure how well that came out. Maybe I should have masked it off, what have you. I don't want to mess with it too much, because the red paint was actually softening the gray paint underneath, and so gotta be very careful with that. I think regardless, I'm going to live with it, because there's going to be weathering over the top of it. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get this masking off. Now this one really kind of confounds me, because I don't know if I put too much thinner in or what the deal was, but I was sitting there painting, and then all of a sudden it just, like, a lot of almost water came out, a lot of clear liquid came out, and so I think it somewhat messed with it, but it doesn't look too bad. I did get some bleed. We can clean that up. There we go. All cleaned up. We have everything painted now. I think that is going to be good. What I'll do now that everything's painted, I'll come back through and go ahead and give everything a clear coat. There's a lot of it that needs a clear coat. I will do that completely off camera. But now that everything's basically painted, I think we're going to be good there. So let me try one thing here. We have this little bitty, I just want to see if we can kind of clean up this little red bit here. Yeah, not perfect, but better than what it was. All right, and that paint's been on there for a while. So, well, there we go. That's everything for this episode. I think we're ready to actually start doing the stuff that we're supposed to be doing in this actual issue. It's been a lot of work to get to that point. So we're going to go ahead, and next episode, we're going to work on that. And that should get this whole process completed at that point. So with that, I want to thank you guys all for watching, and may the force be with you always.